Hidden beneath the sun-blasted sands of Nevada's Great Basin, inside a silent cave, lay a secret that would rattle the bedrock of American history. Wrapped in rabbit fur and time itself, the Spirit Cave mummy waited 10,600 years to tell his story. When scientists finally listened, they uncovered more than just ancient bones. They unlocked a genetic time bomb that shattered migration theories, ignited a tribal war, and rewrote the origin story of an entire continent. It all started in 1940, when husband and wife archaeologists Sydney and Georgia Wheeler were out in Nevada, not hunting for treasure, but surveying caves to protect them from guano mining. Yep, bat poop. That's when they stepped into Spirit Cave, just east of Fallon, and stumbled onto something far more exciting. A partially mummified human wrapped in woven tulle mats, rabbit fur blankets, and high-quality moccasins. The dry desert air had preserved the man's head and right shoulder astonishingly well. But it wasn't just the remains. The couple unearthed 67 artifacts, everything from baskets to intricate fabrics. All carefully crafted and unusually advanced for the region, the burial didn't scream random death. It felt deliberate, ceremonial, and filled with care. The Spirit Cave mummy, believed to be a man in his 40s, had been laid to rest with purpose. What the Wheelers didn't realize, they had just uncovered North America's oldest known mummy. Back in 1940, carbon dating wasn't even a thing, so the archaeologists and museum staff did the best they could. Judging by the tools, textiles, and craftsmanship, they figured the Spirit Cave remains were about 1,500 to 2,000 years old. Impressive, sure, but nothing earth-shattering. With the mystery seemingly solved, the mummy and artifacts were boxed up and stored away in the Nevada State Museum. For nearly 50 years, the Spirit Cave mummy sat quietly in storage, misjudged and mostly forgotten. Turns out he was a sleeping giant, waiting for science to catch up. To understand the Spirit Cave mummy, you have to rewind the clock, way back. Over 10,000 years ago, Nevada wasn't the dry desert we know today. It was a lush, watery landscape dominated by Lake Lahontan, a massive Ice Age lake brimming with fish, waterfowl, and plant life. Back then, the people who lived here weren't wandering nomads scraping by. They were thriving lakeside communities. They fished, hunted, gathered, and crafted with remarkable skill. This wasn't just survival. It was civilization in action. The Spirit Cave mummy wasn't some lone wanderer. He was part of a vibrant world now buried under sand and time. A world that had long been forgotten, until that mummy started talking. Fast forward to the 1990s, archaeology had gotten a serious tech upgrade. Enter accelerated mass spectrometry. Scientists at the Nevada State Museum decided to redate some of their old, undated finds using this newfangled carbon dating. Among them, our friend from Spirit Cave. When the results came in, jaws hit the lab floor. Instead of 2,000 years old, the mummy dated to around 9,400 years before present, over 10,600 calendar years ago. That's older than the Egyptian pyramids, older than Ötzi the Iceman in Europe. Heck, it's older than written language. Just like that, the Spirit Cave mummy wasn't a side note in American history anymore. He was headline news, the oldest human mummy ever discovered in North America. His very existence punched a hole in the accepted timeline of human arrival in the Americas. And that hole? It was about to get a whole lot deeper. For decades, archaeologists clung to the Clovis first theory. Humans crossed the Bering Land Bridge from Siberia to Alaska about 12,000 years ago and spread southward. End of story, right? Well, Spirit Caveman wasn't having it. At 10,600 years old, he either lived alongside or even before the Clovis culture. That lit a fire under the scientific world. Suddenly, people were asking bold questions. Were there earlier migrations? Did some people travel by boat along the Pacific coast instead of overland? Could there have been multiple waves of migration, or even transatlantic crossings? Some scientists pointed out that early American remains, including Spirit Caveman, had skull shapes a bit different from today's Native Americans. This sparked wild theories about separate ancient populations, though those ideas, like a few too many Indiana Jones sequels, didn't age well. What's clear is this: Spirit Caveman cracked open the migration narrative and exposed a past that was older, more complex, and way more fascinating than the tidy textbook version. While scientists were busy rewriting history, a deeper, more personal story was unfolding. Spirit Cave sits on land tied to the Fallon Paiute Shoshone tribe, and when news broke that researchers wanted to extract DNA from the mummy, the tribe said, "Hold up, that's our ancestor." Under the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act, NAGPRA, tribes have the right to reclaim ancestral remains. For the Fallon Paiute Shoshone, this wasn't some academic artifact. This was family, disturbed and now dissected in the name of science. What followed was a 20-year legal and ethical tug-of-war. Scientists argued the find could reveal humanity's path into the Americas. The tribe insisted that even testing violated sacred traditions. Emotions ran high. Lawyers got involved. At times it felt less like archaeology and more like courtroom drama. At the heart of it all was one big question: who gets to tell the story of ancient humans? The answer, as it turned out, would come not through more digging, but through a delicate truce and a tiny spiral of DNA. After years of respectful negotiation, the Fallon Paiute Shoshone tribe made a monumental decision in 2015. They agreed to allow a single DNA test on the Spirit Cave mummy. No cutting corners, no loopholes, just one shot to solve the mystery once and for all. Enter Professor Esko Willerslev, a renowned evolutionary geneticist from Cambridge and Copenhagen. His team carefully extracted and sequenced the ancient genome, hoping to uncover the mummy's true lineage. The results? Earth-shaking. Spirit Caveman wasn't some outlier or mystery migrant. He was, genetically, Native American. More specifically, he shared a direct ancestral line with the Fallon Paiute Shoshone tribe. The science had finally caught up with the oral traditions that had said all along, "He is one of us." The findings didn't just vindicate the tribe, they flipped the script on decades of scientific assumptions. The so-called Paleo-American model, which once separated early remains from today's native populations, crumbled under the weight of ancient DNA. The oldest mummy in North America had spoken, and science and spirit had finally aligned. With DNA confirming what the Fallon Paiute Shoshone had known all along, the legal path became clear. In 2016, the U.S. Bureau of Land Management officially repatriated the Spirit Cave mummy to the tribe. 2 years later, in a quiet, private ceremony, he was finally reburied, laid to rest not as a specimen, but as an honored ancestor. No cameras, no press, just prayers, tradition, and closure. It was a moment of healing. After decades of conflict, the Spirit Caveman returned to the earth where his people had always lived, and where his story had waited patiently to be told. The Spirit Cave mummy isn't just a scientific marvel, he's a turning point in how we understand early America. His discovery forced archaeologists to challenge old migration models and respect the power of indigenous knowledge. He's North America's version of Otzi the Iceman, but with an even more explosive twist. His DNA rewrote the continent's human history. And perhaps most importantly, his story reminded scientists that bones and data aren't the whole picture. Sometimes, the people who've been telling the story all along had it right. Spirit Caveman gave us more than answers. He gave us perspective. From a dusty cave in Nevada to the pages of global science journals, the Spirit Cave mummy turned mystery into revelation. He shattered timelines, bridged science and tradition, and brought long overdue respect to native voices. His burial wasn't the end. It was the beginning of a deeper understanding of who we are and where we truly come from. Because sometimes the oldest stories are the ones we've been carrying with us all along. If you found this journey into ancient America as mind-blowing as we did, don't forget to like and subscribe. What other buried secrets do you think are still waiting to be uncovered?